What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to just do a full-on wrap-up video when it comes to my challenge that I made for myself, where I am wearing makeup for all 30 days of the month of June. And if you've been following my short series where I will pop on to show you guys the makeup look and then also give you guys maybe the highlights of some of my favorite products, this will be a great kind of wrap-up video for you guys. And of course I will be hopping off in a second to film my short. But yeah, I've really been enjoying getting to know my collection a little bit more. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the video because there's so much that I talk about. Today is day 30, aka the last day of my challenge that I set for myself. And so I just wanted to kind of talk you guys through what I've learned during this challenge and then also showcase one of my favorite combinations, both with my favorite eye look and then my favorite kind of base routine as well. All of the items will be listed and linked down below. And yeah, let's just get into it. So I've already done a check-in, and during that check-in, I was just saying how I had realized and had come to kind of the conclusion that I didn't need to do a whole full beat to feel put together and accomplished. And I was happy that I did this challenge because I was basically able to take the time to learn more about my collection, but also learn more about how I want to apply makeup and how I have been applying makeup. Something very as simple as how I apply my base product or my foundation, I think to an extent has improved because I've learned, sometimes a pump and a half can be stretched a little bit further than I previously had thought. I also been able to take the time to really look into, how many of said products do I actually need? And I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway that I have found. And I find that every time I do something that is either a project pan or something very reminiscent, and even just going through and doing my empties videos, I find that I am alerted to how much of each kind of category, every product I quite literally need, because I'm actually going to go through it in a reasonable amount of time. And in my head, a reasonable amount of time is about 3 months. In 3 months, you have a full season from start to finish, at least in the area that I live in. And, every season I tend to kind of have different goals, different mindset, and even sometimes switch around outfits, all of that, right? Everybody does that. And so seeing how many of these products I theoretically can get through in 3 months because of how far I got through them in 1 month, it's been really telling. It's been extremely telling. For example, for me, things that I don't think you could ever kind of have too much of are your basic base products. For me, foundation has always been that way. I did a project pan on foundations quite a few years ago where I placed 4 to 5 different foundation type products or actual foundations in a project pan, trying to use them up basically. And what I found was if trying, but also without trying, I can get through about 4 foundations every year because it takes me about 3 months to get through a foundation. It definitely depends on the amount of product in said foundations. Most of the foundations that I ever pick up are that 1 fluid ounce standard size. And then it also depends on the amount of coverage that the foundation quotes giving. I tend to reach for a lot of these more medium coverage foundations. And so for me, I know that within about a 3 months span of time for me putting on makeup, I will have been able to complete a foundation product. For example, the Tula Skin Radiant Tint that I put in my project pan unofficially, I knew that I would either be able to get very close or knock this completely out by the end of this project. I did take quite a few days off in between these 30 days. I wasn't quite literally wearing makeup every day, and I don't think that's healthy for me personally, but I still was able to get this down to like maybe a bottom third. There's definitely some error in this part. I would say I am right there. So I have probably about maybe a week's worth of application left in this packaging. And that's with me skipping roughly about a week's worth of days throughout the whole month. And so that's really telling that in a month, as I predicted, I could have finished that product. Now, am I mad that I didn't kind of prioritize putting makeup on quite literally every day? For me, no. That was never kind of the goal. The goal was just to see how well I actually could do that. And because of extraneous circumstances, that was literally the only reason why I was able to make this challenge work so well, because otherwise it wouldn't have worked so well, because I would have been way too busy and I would have forgotten, or things would have just been lost in the sauce. But because this last month has been relatively calm for my personal life, and I've been able to kind of just reset myself personally, I was able to take that 15 minutes or so on a day, really about 10 minutes, to actively dedicate towards ensuring that I put on a full face. And that helped me tremendously. But going back to the usage of products, it showed me that foundations is a product or a category that if I go ham one year, as long as I don't go over, like, let's say buying an additional 8 in a year, I will make up at least finishing 4 in one calendar year. And for me, I know it says that you only have 12 months of opening to get through the product, but I find there's some legality, there's a little wiggle room, if you will, where if you really need more time, you generally can take that more time. It's just kind of at your own risk. And I have been wearing makeup now for a good amount of time, and throughout that time there's probably been not one foundation that I've literally finished within an actual 12-month period of time. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it didn't affect my skin and my, overall look of the product, because products look different when they're at their prime and then sometimes when they're not. But it was doable. So for me, the amount of foundations that I have, which isn't that many, I want to say I have something around 8 to 10, somewhere around there. It's a doable number for me. It's a doable number. We're halfway through the year, and I am working through so many of these Brace products now because I found a routine that I enjoy and that I think just looks good, but it's also quick and efficient. And so for that reason, I don't find that there's a real worry that even as I get busy, if I genuinely want to put makeup on, or I just feel like today's a makeup day, I'll get it done. Another category that I always knew was going to be a category that I could kind of go ham on, because one, the products in my opinion really don't go bad, but also just because I can get through them once again in that same kind of quantity of time, about 3 months, are brow products. Now, I have kind of upped my brow game, where I am not only putting on a brow pencil, which I do prefer that smaller pencil style just in the grand scheme of things, but not only am I putting on that brow pencil, I am also using a brow pen to add hair-like strokes in the front on days where I have a little bit of extra time. And then I'm also using a brow gel. So there's a lot that goes into really my brows, and I'm okay with that on certain days. Now, I don't do all of that every day, but certain days, yeah, I think that it is a necessity, and I think that it just overall, once again, makes me feel better about my overall look. Another thing that I've kind of grown to really get quite a bit of use out of is, of course, my setting sprays. So during this time period, I actually finished my one setting spray, which I had a feeling I would be able to finish it. And I've just grown to kind of learn to layer my setting spray throughout my application of my makeup. Now, this personally helps me, I feel, to bring more longevity to my makeup looks, and ultimately, that is something that I need. I am not the person that has a pressed powder in their purse and that is going to sit here and touch up. You'll literally see me sweating in a full face of makeup. I'll take a random napkin, I'll blot, but that's about all you're going to get from me. And if you happen to see me at the end of my day and half of my makeup is gone, then half of my makeup is gone. I am just not the one to have the time nor a care to reapply my makeup. I enjoy the routine of applying makeup, and I also enjoy the kind of effects and whatever of applying makeup, but I am not the one that feels like I have to look perfect at every point in the day for my makeup look to feel successful. That's just not something that is a goal of mine. I enjoy the overall end result, but other than that, I'm good. So at the beginning, I had referenced the fact that I learned more about the products that I already had, and I can't stress how much that is true for me personally. I have really just grown to appreciate the quantity of product that I have. I now know that although I get a lot of enjoyment by having, a variety of products in every walk in part of my life, the quantity of, like, let's say, eyeshadow palettes that I have, is it really necessary? I mean, I always knew that I had a healthy collection, but I'm coming to realize that, like, it's even more healthy than I thought, because at the end of the day, I've lately only been using one, maybe two mattes, throwing on a shimmer sometimes, and that's it. That's it. So, like, truly, what is the point of all of these eyeshadow palettes? Don't get me wrong, they're beautiful in their own way, and I don't see me, throwing them out or anything, but it does give me cause to really think about the amount that I'm bringing in, which is why I decided to kind of limit myself for the last 6 months to only bringing in one eyeshadow palette a month. And that has already got me into some sticky situations this month, even though today is the last day, because right now Sephora is doing a 4th of July sale, as I think they typically always do. And I was fixing to buy one, if not two, of the Huda Beauty, her eyeshadow palettes, because they're on 50% off, and I enjoy, like, tremendously enjoy that particular formula. But when I stepped back, first of all, the price of the combination was still, like, ridiculous. It was like $70 for both products. Okay. And then thinking about it further, I already bought my palette for July. I already bought it. I bought it before the month even started. So I don't need it. I don't need it, and I'm not going to buy it. And yeah, it just keeps coming around and around, just more realizations as this month continue to go on. I've learned and rediscovered so many things in my collection that I already put my money towards, and maybe for one reason or another, I stopped using, whether it was because I was using it so much at the beginning that I told myself, okay, chill out. And now I'm like, well, why'd you chill out? Because these products are good, and these products will remind you that you don't need anything else, you know? So, yeah, literally what I'm doing, Rare Beauty. It's been so long since I've had this in my shop, my stash, or anywhere near me that to an extent I kind of forgot about it. Not no more. Not no more. And I actually am going to go ahead and spray setting spray one more time. This is going to be the kind of piece de resistance of the spray. And depending on the setting spray, let me just put this in a little asterisk. That will help you to kind of de-powder your whole look if you do put on as much powder as I do. Towards the end of the product, actually, I realized that the Milk Makeup Hydro Spray actually helps to de-powder my whole base, so that actually might be a repurchase. I didn't think it was going to be one, but as I got through the whole product and I was using it more and actively paying attention to what my makeup looked like this month, it actually just, you know, it made sense why I had it and why I enjoyed using it, even though I couldn't put my name on an actual reason that I should enjoy using it. So I'm just gonna prime really quickly, and then we're gonna go ahead and dive into my overall favorite eye look that I created these past 29 days. Okay, so of course I'm using my Give Beauty eyeshadow quad. This has been like the main thing palette that I have been using this whole 30 days. It is a beautiful, beautiful formula, very basic color scheme. And as I've just really enjoyed a basic brown look, basic brown lips with some experimenting on the cheeks, this has really been working. It's been working, and it's really going to work with my overall look today because I'm wearing a brown dress today, which, if you want to know about it, I will have it linked down below. It is from Amazon. So we're just gonna put this brown on this outer portion of my eye. I'm not really concerned with the blend or how far I wing it out at all. And then I'm gonna just apply a light layer on that lower lash line just so that I feel like my look is overall balanced, but at the end of the day, it's okay. Okay, so that is applied, and as you can see, I have color on the outer portions of my eye, nothing on the inner. On the inner, I have thoroughly enjoyed this product. This is the Dazzle Stick from KVD in the shade Electro Bolt 2.0. What I've preferred is taking my finger and just applying a thin layer. And this kind of brings me to the last part of what I've realized during this kind of period of experimentation, and that is that there's so many looks and honestly eyeshadow palettes, eyeshadow shades, whether it's like these single creams or like in my actual singles collection, that I think are beautiful, that I love to use. And because I'm constantly getting something that is new, I'm not using them. And so when I was going through, just looking at old videos, old concept ideas, all of that, I realized how, I wouldn't say bad, but how I was kind of not rediscovering these old loves. And that's what happened with this. I did a look with this when I first got this product, and I pretty much never looked back until I happened to be watching the video that I featured that cream shadow on, and I was like, I love this look. What is that? And I remembered, it's this Dazzle stick. It is literally this Dazzle stick. It is a beautiful cream shadow. It does crease a little bit on me, and to kind of stop that, I do recommend, of course, putting a primer. I know they say that these are like primer already in the stick. It doesn't work for me. I have oily lids though, so take that into consideration if you're thinking about what you would have to do for you. I just use some of my favorite primers, and I also really don't care if my eyeshadow creases. I'll just tap out the creasing and go about my business. But this is pretty much the perfect kind of my favorite combination between cheeks and also between eyes. I'm just gonna throw on some liner on the outer perimeters. I'm gonna put some mascara on. I'll probably put on some lashes as well. And then I'll be done for today. And I'll just come back to show you guys the finished look. And we'll just kind of wrap up a lot of the thoughts that I've spewed out throughout this video. So this is the finished look. Beautiful, juicy cheeks with those bright colors, with the two combinations of my Half Magic blushes. Of course, that beautiful Rare Beauty highlighter. I love my lips. Of course, it's browns. I'm loving it. I think that overall this is kind of the perfect everyday look that I've combined both my favorite base and my favorite eye look. I can't wait till my oils start to kind of peek through a little bit, and then it's going to be perfect. So yeah, I pretty much feel like I have learned so much about myself, my makeup application. I have learned to kind of better apply a cream concealer as a base with maybe some translucent powder setting it, and that can be kind of an approved base for me for just leaving the house. I've also learned that for me, as much as I love bronzer, don't get me wrong, I love bronzer, I also don't feel the need to have both bronzer cream and powder bronzer. I'm okay with just having one, and that's with everything on the cheeks. As you saw, I only had cream of all of the items, and I just think that overall my makeup look looks a lot more seamless and together, and even you can still see a very apparent coloring of all of the products. Maybe not so much the bronzer, but my hair is kind of really gone she-wolf a little bit and kind of covering that area. But still, I'm overall just very happy with how this came out, and I'm happy with the results I feel like I've had in this makeup challenge, where I've learned once again more about myself, more about my collection, and hopefully I will continue to take these lessons into my purchasing in the future, so that maybe I don't go down a road that I've gone down before unnecessarily. So unnecessarily. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.